They had put a name on me called Black Widow.
We need you to come in.
Are you kidding? I'm working.
This takes precedence.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
I don't give everything.
One of my long-term viewers and supporter of this channel on Patreon, which, by the way, if you didn't know I have a Patreon page, the links are below. If you would like to support this channel, there's also an optional PayPal link to make a one-time or a monthly contribution. Okay, now that I'm done whoring myself out, where was I? Oh yeah, so Stu brought this video to my attention. It's called Voice from Heaven Serves as Witch's Wake-Up Call. This video portrays a typical story of conversion from witchcraft to Jesus. The circumstances are almost always the same. They come from an abusive background, they get into drugs and get into witchcraft, their life falls apart, they find Jesus, and everything miraculously irons itself out.
The Black Widow actually lures her mate, and actually after she is done with her mating, then she kills him.
Wow, that's pretty kinky, but isn't murder against the law? Not to mention morally reprehensible? I assume from the title of this video that it has something to do with witchcraft. I mean, it's not like you're just making these videos to make witches look bad, right?
She destroys him, and that's exactly what I was doing.
Merari Rodriguez grew up in a broken home. Her father left the family when she was 6, and her mother had to work several jobs, leaving her in the care of a babysitter.
She was married to a police officer.
Well, let me guess. She was abused, she turned to drugs, and got into witchcraft to gain control and power. Her life fell apart until she finds Jesus, and suddenly everything is just fine. End of story.
And the words he would use.
But I do like the Black Widow angle. It almost makes it seem sexy.
Were very controlling. I remember him putting such fear in me, and I felt like I belonged to him is pretty much the message he was telling me. And I felt like then it was my fault. And the hatred for myself began to build.
I'm so sorry you had that experience with an emotionally abusive and controlling stepfather.
The sexual abuse continued for a year before Merari's mother noticed a change in her daughter's behavior and intervened.
Yep, it turned into sexual abuse.
But when Merari was 11, it happened again. This time, it was a friend of the family.
Yikes, more abuse. That sucks. I really hope he didn't try and use the Bible to somehow weasel his way out of this. That would be just adding insult to injury.
He was confronted, and I was brought in to the confrontation.
They weren't going to bring you into the confrontation, but you are the reason there was a confrontation. If Chester the molester here would have kept his hands to himself, there would be no problem.
And he opened the Bible, and he put his hand on the Bible.
Geez, this guy cannot keep his hands to himself. Now he's feeling up books.
And he swore.
Oh, right.
And I just remember looking at the Bible, and I just remember making the choice. God does not exist.
Well, I mean, if God would have intervened, well, maybe things would have been different. Just saying.
And I decided I will never in my life want to hear God, the name of God, or anything about God ever.
Ah, I get it. So you decided to get back at him by practicing witchcraft. I can tell already this is going to work out very well for you.
Merari became rebellious, drinking, smoking pot, and skipping school.
Started doing drugs and skipping school? So far, this is a classic conversion script.
She endured a series of abusive relationships and had 3 children while still a teenager.
I felt like I became a label. I felt like I had written all over myself. I'm fatherless, I'm alone.
Fatherless and alone? No offense, but considering the recent events, maybe you should focus on yourself for a minute.
And I have no protection, so come and hurt me, use me, abuse me, because it just continued to happen everywhere I went.
When she was 18, Mirari felt she had found the answer to her problems when she was introduced to witchcraft and the goth subculture.
How is witchcraft or the goth subculture going to heal her sexual abuse? Witchcraft is not a panacea. It's not therapy, and it's definitely not a self-help group.
They seemed so together, and they kept always talking about power.
They kept talking about power?
And how you can have power now to control someone else.
Odd that they didn't talk about anything else, like how they claim to get said power, why they are always wasting their time celebrating the seasons and every full moon, when they could be sitting around getting power. The way you are describing this, it makes it sound like they were very toxic and self-destructive.
And all my life I was controlled, and now I wanted to control.
She was baptized as a witch.
She was baptized a witch? I have no idea what tradition this is supposed to be. Many of the people I talk to agree that one awakens to their beliefs. They are not made a witch. They simply are. An act of initiation could take many forms, including baptism. Honestly, in my opinion, I think you are making this shit up.
And given a special name.
Ooh, I hope it's something that sounds dark and dangerous. Something that would creep people out.
It's Black Widow.
What?
It was Black Widow. She said it at the beginning of the video.
Oh, so this bit just fell completely flat?
Yep.
Fuck! Why am I including this in the video? I should edit this out. Oh shit, it's too late.
She began to cast spells to control those around her.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, she joined a group that did nothing but sit around and talk about power. I mean, what else would they do? Read books? Make incense or prepare for an upcoming fire festival? That would interfere with their little power sessions.
Just had this spirit of promiscuity and sensual over me that I could have anyone that I wanted.
I'm sorry, were you interested in actually studying witchcraft and gaining power, or were you looking for a hookup?
And I didn't want anything with them. I just wanted to control them.
You sound like such a wonderful person to circle with. I'm assuming with all this toxicity floating around that this group dissolved very quickly.
I felt like I can now, protect myself. I felt like I can protect myself now from men like that and from anyone else that would hurt me.
I think you can protect yourself as much as possible. However, relying on this power-hungry group and using them for your own selfish ends is not going to protect you.
Mirari continued to advance in the occult, but when the other witches wanted to initiate her children, she decided to break away.
Okay, yeah, this is a very toxic group. No healthy group is going to force another person to be initiated, especially anyone under the age of 18. So, yeah, leave that group. Forcing someone to convert or to be initiated against their will is like religious rape.
She moved out of town to make a fresh start. She thought she had left it all behind.
They dissolved, huh? Weird. Who could have seen that coming?
But one night at home, she had a terrifying vision.
They have to include some type of horror to make this whole thing supernatural and absurdly more ridiculous than it already is. All right, lady, what was your horrible vision?
I see this beast just standing in my yard. And it was a form of a lion, but he was awful looking.
Was 666 tattooed on the beast somewhere?
And I looked and he opens his mouth. And I noticed someone is in his mouth.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Who could it possibly be?
And so I yell out, "Oh my God, help! He's got someone in his mouth." And when he turned the person right before he's gonna swallow, I looked and I saw it was me.
Wow, what a vivid nightmare you had. A beast devouring you in its mouth. What could that possibly mean? I'm thinking it has something to do with food.
And I saw myself, and he began to squeeze, and I could hear my bones cracking.
Yuck. Oh, and thanks for the sound effect in the background. It wasn't creepy enough.
And I can hear myself gasping for air, and suddenly, right before, I can see blood just gush out of my mouth.
That is a scary nightmare.
And all I could do was, and I hear a voice. And he said, "Mirari, I've been calling you for a long time.
Is this still the vision you had?
If you don't come to me now, he's going to kill you.
Who's gonna kill you? Him? Not the witchcraft group that wanted to force your children into becoming witches? Weird. I thought this video was about the horrors of witchcraft.
And he said it one more time. But this time he said daughter.
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 So God has an accent?
And all I remember was just falling on my face and just saying, God.
How metaphorical.
And I remember saying, Lord, and I don't know why. I've never used that expression in my whole life. And I said, Lord, please don't let me die.
Okay, the music and the forced emotion is getting a little thick here. This was a vision. It wasn't a horrific event that you nearly escaped.
I receive you. I don't know you. And I'm sorry. But thank you for showing me where I was.
Is she actually shedding any tears?
And I just woke up. And my body, my spirit hit my body.
God slapped your ass back to reality, huh?
And I knew that I just had the most incredible encounter with my Creator.
In a vision.
And that He called me daughter. He was my father.
Oh my God, he called me daughter.
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 He was my father. I never heard a man say daughter.
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 Merari surrendered her life to Christ that night.
That's all it took? One dream, a vision of a beast devouring you, then afterwards getting bitch slapped by God? Just like that, you change your belief system. Your convictions are weaker than your acting ability.
I felt like different. I just felt clean. I felt something I've never in my life. God just came for me.
I got a new title for this video. Drug addict daughter.
Daughter.
Gets slapped by God.
And when I learned some of the scriptures, I knew that He left the 99 for me.
He left a 99 for you? That must be a reference to something. Is that like Christian gang slang?
I was that one, and just amazing.
You're not shedding a fucking tear.
But I knew I was different. I felt renewed. I felt free.
What the fuck? I think that beast might have done something to your neck. That's not natural. Yeah, that's creepy. Nobody's neck moves like that.
With the help of a friend, Merari found a church and was baptized a Christian.
Congratulations! Now you are baptized as a Christian. Are your children going to be forced into Christianity? Or will you just wage a slow campaign of guilt and judgmental attrition until they join the flock?
She renounced her past involvement in the occult.
Can you blame her? She got bitch slapped by God in a vision.
And has traveled overseas to share the good news of Jesus Christ.
Oh, great. Another holier than thou going around preaching their personal experiences as facts to convince the gullible to join their weird death cult.
Her children are now grown, and she is married and mentors young women like herself, pointing them to the Savior who has taught her how to trust.
We get it. She uses her testimony to convince others who might be going through similar life problems that they can fix it by pouring God into their wounds. We get it.
I have no control. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
How I had to relent everything. He allowed me for a little while to have control.
When did you have control? When you were involved with that toxic witch group? I thought you were controlling them.
And so he can teach me what was the difference. And so I learned, and he taught me little by little how to be a daughter.
Daughter?
Daughter. How to surrender, how to listen, how to discern.
How to take a bitch slap from God.
It's just amazing how he's so patient, because he allowed me to go through the process.
He allowed you to go through the process. You mean he allowed you to be indoctrinated and brainwashed into a death cult?
And helped me through my own deliverance. I learned that God was my true father, and there's no one that can replace him. And he fulfilled me.
We didn't hear about it, but I am sure you eventually quit being abused, identifying as a victim, and you sought help and you quit doing drugs. Am I right? Well, this is the end of this video. Remember, if we have learned anything from the 700 Club, it is this. Go ahead, run amok in other people's lives as a perpetual victim and self-medicate with illegal drugs. When your life falls apart, and it will, just blame witchcraft and accept the holy hand of heaven to smack some sense into you. Goodbye for now, and I will see you in hell, you heathens.